What is the greatest comeback to an insult you heard? Story 1. Just out of curiosity as to how good this actually was, for years I was told that my sort of comeback was the best thing that anybody had ever heard, mostly because I was the quiet kid that nobody could get a rise out of. Naturally, because they couldn't get a rise out of me, everybody tried to get me flustered by insulting me or framing me for things that no teacher ever believed because it was never the quiet kid. Essentially, I walked into class one day and the teacher wasn't there, but this other girl, S, was up at the whiteboard writing out a long-running joke about her teacher that ticked him off. It was about his assigned teacher number, and 2 years of developing a joke is a bit hard to explain. It became a bit of an inside joke. Either way, I sat down, she finished, and the teacher came in, noticing what was written on the board. He asked who did it, and immediately this girl and a few other girls around her said, "Sibaran did it." Note, we were about 15 at the time, so they should have been beyond this. I don't know what it was, but something made me wordlessly walk up to the board, fix her spelling and punctuation errors, and then sit down. Only when I had sat down did I turn to the girl who'd done it to say, "I have standards." The class collectively lost their stuff, including the girls who hadn't seen it coming, and the teacher laughed so hard he went red in the face and cried. To me, it seems like they just found it so funny because it was me, because I don't see anything particularly special or savage about it. I really wish I was there to witness that moment. It's so satisfying when you can make such an impact with as little words as possible. I really hope that kid got some respect after that. That was just too perfect. Story 2. Not quite an insult, but I still think of this comeback to this day. I have 2 little brothers and it was my dad's birthday. So the semi-extended family were all at a restaurant to celebrate. I had just graduated from my dad's alma mater, and my middle brother was currently a junior there. My youngest brother, a freshman, however, opted to go to state school. At one point, my uncle said, "So, youngest brother, how does your dad feel about you breaking the trend of our last name men going to alma mater?" My little bro thought for a moment and then said, "Well, he probably doesn't mind, considering I also broke the trend of not being able to get higher than a 3.0. The table exploded, and my other brother and I just stared at each other across the table like, holy hell, did we just get roasted? It's especially funny because my little bro was one of those shy high school kids who went off to college and came back fun and socially confident. I was hoping that development would happen, just never expected it to stab me in the freaking face. While I'm glad that the experience helped him get confident. It's too easy for many kids to get devastated at college, so I'm glad he was able to find himself there. I don't think the uncle saw that response coming either. And I don't think it's quite an insult, just a well-aimed ribbing. Story 3. Was once criticized by an older family member for having a stray tooth that gave me a bit of a craggy smile as an adolescent. It settled in nicely. I was raised not to criticize what people can't help, and to give compliments where possible. So I did just that. Sorta. Aunt. "Nice crocodile smile." Me. Thanks. Aunt. "It's just that tooth, you know. Makes your smile all crooked, but it's not that bad. You could get it fixed." Me. "I suppose, but I know I'll never have teeth as nice as yours. They're like stars." Aunt. "Like stars? You mean as in bright?" Me. "No, as in they come out at night." My uncle had given me a book called 1001 Insults for Every Occasion a while earlier, and that gem was in it. Usually those books are all pretty corny jokes. That one was too. In this instance, though, it fit the situation perfectly. If you're getting ambushed, you fight back with what you got on hand. Story 4. My dear grandmother. She had a quick and savage wit. My fiancé and I held a meet-the-whole-family get-together at my house. It was the first time his father met my grandmother. His dad was a large, physically intimidating man with a beer gut. He began telling stories to my grandmother about how my fiancé was a mischief maker when he was young, then told my grandmother how he would take off his belt and whip Joe for being bad. My frail little grandmother stares directly at my hubby's dad's tummy and says, "Your belt? However could you find it?" Future father-in-law was gobsmacked. Story 5. Winston Churchill has attributed some great ones. Lady Astor. "Mr. Churchill, you're drunk." Churchill. "Yes, madam, and you are ugly. But tomorrow I shall be sober." And also, Lady Astor. "Winston, if you were my husband, I'd poison your tea." Churchill. "Nancy, if I were your husband, I'd drink it." Story 6. Sitting in a bar at 3 a.m. off of Bourbon Street. The windows are just open shutters. Dude who just left the bar leans in on our table to shout at some friends still in the bar. One of our group makes a silly, snide comment. Dude leaning in smacks the table with an open palm and says, "Everybody who ever loved you was wrong." Then he walks away without looking back. We still revel in that story. I have to remember that one. That's an amazing all-purpose one. There are so many situations that can be used. Real concise, too. Story 7. Gordon Ramsay asked his daughter on camera, "So what's it like being the daughter of the most famous chef in the world?" Her daughter replies, "I wouldn't know. Jamie Oliver's not my dad." Boom! Roasted. Story 8. I was playing spades one time and a guy tried to lead the game off with a spade. I told him he couldn't do that. Spades have to be broken first. He refused to play by the rules, so I refused to play. He started singing, "The wheels on the bus go round and round," to imply that I was acting like a child. He asked me, "Do you know why I'm singing that?" I said, "Yeah, 'cause I'm taking you to school." Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of this video, and have a wonderful day. Story 9. During my university days, I ran into a friend acquaintance of mine, and I was holding a Green Lantern graphic novel. My friend introduced me to his current girlfriend, and the first thing she says to me while shaking my hand was, "Aren't comic books for kids?" And I replied, "Aren't those A-cups for kids?" Honestly, I was in so much shock that someone I just met would say that to me that I replied on instinct. Still my greatest comeback ever. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. And for the record, comic books are not just for kids, like animation is not just for kids. It sucks to be belittled for liking something that doesn't affect the other person whatsoever. I'm glad he went on instinct and took that shot. Story 10. I was in first grade and we were on the bus about to go home, and some mean bully yelled at me, and it went like this. Bully: "Hey, my name. Why are you so gay?" Me: "Because I like to copy you." Bus: "Ooh." That was the best comeback I have ever made. And the kid behind me said, "He's nice." Then, like bro, slapped my hand, and I felt so cool. Later in the 7th grade, I figured out I was gay, so checkmate bully. Story 11. Teacher asks a tough question. Jimmy says the correct answer. Karen: "You're such a nerd." Teacher: "Be nice to him, Karen. He could be your boss someday." Jimmy: "It's okay, teacher. I have no interest in being a pimp anyway." The whole class lost their minds. Story 12. A friend of mine in first-year university had never really dated any girls yet. This dumb meathead that we were kind of friends with told him, "When you do get a girlfriend, I'm totally going to do her." He responded, "If I had a girlfriend that would do you, her cheating on me wouldn't be the issue." Hey, the meathead deserved getting served. What business is this guy's dating life to him? Maybe the meathead is going through a dry spell of his own. Maybe he's feeling a bit insecure and has to lash out. Story 13. I heard a story once about some girls in an elevator who were insulting some black guy in another language they thought he didn't understand. Hindi, I think. Specifically commenting on his ugly black face. Apparently, the guy waited till the elevator reached his floor, looked at them, and in perfect Hindi said, "Better to have an ugly face than an ugly heart," and left. Story 14. Mi espeite moleki, a única razón que eu não sou teu pale, porque tu a mim não china troco pravinci, which roughly means, "Show some respect, boy. The only reason I'm not your dad is because your mom didn't have change for a 20. Story 15. When I was in middle school many years ago, a bully was teasing an awkward kid about not being able to get girls and being gay and never being able to get laid. Another bully spoke up to the first bully and said, "Buddy, you ain't had that since that had you." And the entire class and the teacher started laughing. The original bully shut up. Yeah, that's it. Get them to turn on each other. Deflect from the original target and let these bullies fight amongst themselves. That was a funny response, though. Story 16. A street hustler is trying to sell CDs, and an overweight gentleman walks by and says, "No thanks." Hustler: "If it was a donut, you'd eat it." Tubby: "If it was $1, you'd beg for it." Story 17. Today in one of my classes, we were working on a project about careers, and one of the kids shouted, "I want to be a male stripper." The teacher responded, "I think you might be missing some of the qualifications for that job." Story 18. Lunch lady got me in front of my whole class. Tuna fish was for lunch. I said, "Tuna fish? I'd rather eat a poop sandwich." Without missing a beat, this 80-year-old lady fires back, "Wait right here. I can make you one in the back." Needless to say, I went with the tuna. First rule of eating out. Don't disrespect the people serving your food. Be lucky they chose to let you eat it all. This kid is lucky. Out in the real world, people in the food service industry can have much more leeway with the preparation of your food. Story 19. Was jokingly asked out to Year 10 formal, prom, in front of the whole class by a popular girl who definitely had no interest in me. I, without a moment's hesitation, say, "No thanks, Lauren. I have standards." The whole class and the teacher lost it. Story 20. 1. Everyone thinks you're a jerkwad. 2. Well, you know what everyone thinks about you? Nothing. No one ever thinks about you. I know I don't. Story 21. From Casablanca. Ugarte. You despise me, don't you? Rick. If I ever gave you any thought, I might. Yep. Even though this is from a movie, it's great. I think that's where a lot of writers come from. They got bullied as kids. Everyone has that later epiphany of, I should have said this. Future writers actually wrote it down and just kept writing. Story 22. A girl told me if I took my shirt off at the beach, the glare would blind everyone because I was so pale. I told her, at least when I go to the beach, people don't try to push me back into the sea. Story 23. Random kid. I bet you can't see your sausage in the shower. My friend. Nope, only your mom's head. Story 24. Younger lady was acting like a total shrew in this restaurant to the staff, and this middle-aged lady said, "Oh, honey, you're not pretty enough to act like that." Respect your elders. They know more than you. They even know things that you don't know. Take the L and reflect on your behavior. Story 25. In a heated argument, my mom called my brother a son of a shrew. He replied, "You got that right." Story 26. Does your butt ever get jealous of the poop that comes out of your mouth? Story 27. I don't go down to the docks and take sailor sausages out of your mouth, so why do you hassle me at work? Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.